Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda. In the last part we did Dungeons 3 and 4, I want to say. And now we're going to continue on and do our final gathering here in the Overworld. There's not much left for us to do here. In fact, there's only three things, and we're taking care of at least two of them. Actually, no, four things here in the Overworld, and we're taking care of three of them this part. First off, as you may have noticed last part, there was a heart container here on the Overworld that I couldn't get yet, but now that we have the stepladder, we can. And I hate levers, and you couldn't have dropped that when it was more needed. Now I'm going to say right now, for the upcoming dungeons, you're going to need at least 100 rupees, because there's a certain upgrade we can buy in one of them. Anyway, the heart container is straight north of us right now. And there it is. Just go right across those gaps with the stepladder and it will be yours. And booyah! 4 heart containers left, and they're all from dungeons. With that said, though, the next thing in the overworld that we're getting is actually quite the ways away. It's actually, on the exact opposite half, I believe. And also, seriously, I really haven't complained about that much, but I really hate that gray square that they call a map. If you need an actual map, look up GameFAQs or Zelda Dungeon, because that is an absolutely useless piece of trash map. And I've seen a lot of useless piece of trash maps in my day, mind you. Then again, Zelda 2 doesn't even give you a map, so I suppose it's better than that. Anyway, to get to where we're going next, we need to cross this river right here with our stepladder. And with that, welcome to Western Hyrule. Well, Northwestern Hyrule, at least. Where we're going, you actually can't get to any other way aside from crossing that river or through the mountains. But this is the safest path. Now, the first thing we can get is right beneath this upper right Armos. That's the power bracelet, or the power croissant, as I like to call it. With that, we can actually push certain rocks in the overworld to get warp points. You may have seen little diamond-shaped locations of rocks like the one on the left of the screen right now. You can actually push one of those rocks and open a stairway to a warp point that'll take you all over the map. We'll be demonstrating that momentarily. Also, to the north of us is Dungeon 6, so keep that in mind for later. But we're going to Dungeon 5 instead of 6. Although, actually, one thing I'd like about Zelda 1, in fact, is that getting certain items like the stepladder aside, you can go to a lot of dungeons in really obscure orders. I'm just going in the intended order. Then again, they also just give you no direction of where to go in this game, which is one of the only things I absolutely hate about Zelda 1. And I push this grave, and we can get the final sword upgrade. Master it, and you can have the magical sword. Now, a magical sword makes sense with firing laser beams. So what was I firing out of my sword earlier? Splinters? Nah, I'm not gonna complain, it's a video game. Anyway, with that, there's only one thing left to get in the overworld, and it's actually something we have to buy at a shop next part for 60 rupees, so yeah. Although I feasibly could get it right now, I'm not going to. But I can show off the warp points at least. Let's see, I need to go into the one on the right if I need to get to where I need to go. And pay attention to the map. And now we're in the top right of the map. Those are actually surprisingly useful, though they never tell you about them, and you never really use them much. Anyway, welcome to the Endless Stairways, people like to call it. Dungeon 5 is at the top of this, but what you have to do to get there, as you might notice it's looping, is that you have to head up 4 times. When you hear the jingle, you're there. And pot shot lever. Anyway, welcome to Dungeon 5. This one has a name that I can't remember, so I'm looking it up on Zelda Dungeon. Well, either way, I'll tell you that in a moment. We have a new enemy here, Pole's Voice. Arrows kill them in one hit, although you can also damage them with bombs and the sword. Although in the Japanese version, there was another way to kill them, because you can hear from somewhere in the game, I think, that they are weak to loud sounds, or they don't like loud noises, I think. That's because in the Japanese version on the Famicom, the controllers were actually tethered to the system, and the second player controller had a microphone. You can scream into it or talk or blow, and it'll actually kill the Pole's Voice, which is really cool in my opinion. But they didn't really have that on the NES, so we were screwed. And another new enemy here, Gibdos, pretty much just stronger stealth boss. Let's see, this one is the lizard. Yeah, did I call the one last part the lizard? Because Dungeon 4 was the snake. I may have said that wrong last part. This is the lizard. And we have to fight 3 Digdoggers here, and you need to do this, so make sure you have at least 6 bombs coming in here. You can get them at certain shops, or... yeah. I actually think there was a shop I could get some at, near the Armos statues. I got the power bracelet. Because you may notice there was a door there. And they give us bombs for defeating them. Oh, that angers me. Anyway, we need to head to the west, technically, but I can head north first to get the map for the snake, or the lizard. Which looks like a really generic ghost head, in my opinion. And Zals. Now, it kind of bothers me. I think the boomerang actually killed the gels, but it doesn't kill the Zals. When they're exactly the same enemy, except I think Zals have more health. And Gibdos, and that one has a bomb inside of it. I kind of wish I had fire arrows, because that would probably detonate the bombs. Then again, this isn't God of War, sad to say. Well, that did something, I suppose. Also, the magical sword, I should mention. If you look at the normal sword that we got at the beginning of the game as a power of 1, the white sword, the metal sword rather, had a power of 2, and this one has a power of 4, I believe. That totally wasn't an obvious jump cut. Yeah, my mom walked in and I had to cut away. Luckily, it doesn't look that bad. But anyway, here we have the enemies worst in the game. Worst enemies in the game, Blue Dark Nuts. These guys move so rapidly, and they turn around so often. Their patterns are so erratic. And the thing is, even with my blue mail, they do a full heart of damage. So if you didn't get the blue ring, good luck. And the thing is, the blue enemies tend to be the more annoying ones in Zelda 1 and 2, because the blue iron knuckles in Zelda 2 are still rather annoying. And then there's Dark Nuts and Minish Cap, which are always annoying. And they introduce them so early, too. Ugh. Well, not so early. I think you guys are gonna see the first Iron Knuckle tomorrow, actually. I believe so, at least. Yeah, you should. Anyway, you need to kill all these Iron Knuckles, Dark Nuts, rather, because that's the only way you can actually push the block. Oh, I love completely destroying them from afar. In fact, if you could hold on to your sword laser beam, do so. You're going to want to. Ow. Luckily, you can push the block in any direction as long as it's more the cardinal. And here we get the dungeon's item, the whistle. This thing isn't too useful, honestly. It's very context sensitive. Well, mostly. The thing about it is that when you use it in the overworld, it warps you to a completely random dungeon that you've been to before. You can actually abuse that if you go to certain dungeons later in the game early, so you can actually warp to them once you get the whistle. But when you use it in certain locations in dungeons, it'll have different effects. And I forget if you can actually use it on the Pole's voices. If I see them again, I'll try that out. Because it is a loud noise. Also, those who have played Mario 3 will recognize the sound it makes later on. Well, Mario 3 and her Ocarina of Time's title theme. Anyway, there's an old man in this place, and he says, I bet you'd like to have more bombs. This is the first ammo capacity upgrade in the series. There's 2 of them in the game, and the first one upgrades their bombs to 12, the second one to 16. I should mention with that right now, that's why you needed 100 rupees for this dungeon, and if you want to do everything in the next I'm gonna do next part, you're gonna need 160 rupees, so I'll mention that right now, because there's another bomb upgrade in Dungeon 7, I think. I'm avoiding you, Blue Dark Nuts, because I don't feel like dealing with you. Annoyances. Also, I forget if you can open that door to on the top. I think you just have to push one of these blocks, but I'm gonna instead just bomb the door to the right. In fact, I could say there's a lot of bombable walls in this game. And none of them are too obvious. How did people figure this stuff out back in the 80s? I'm not sure. Because this is one of the most cryptic games I've ever played in my life. And I've played a lot of cryptic games. And the Digdoggers respawn. I'm going to ignore you. And more Zols. No, I like it when a kill all the enemies in the room thing is just Zols, because then it's easy pickings. In fact, I can say right now, Zelda 1 doesn't actually have many puzzle elements to it unless you're just trying to figure out where the hell you're going. Because a lot of the rooms are just kill everything. Zelda 2 is not too puzzle heavy either, aside from when you have to use certain spells or do certain things. Link to the Past is the first one to have actual puzzles. You see, this is how you use a clock effectively, game. Make them spawn really quickly. I apologize if you can hear my chair creaking. I'm trying to get into a weird position at the moment for some reason. And Dark Nuts at dark. Luckily, they are red ones, so they go down in, I think, 2 slice? No, 1 slice. That is satisfying after a Minish Cap. And the compass, and we're actually quite a ways from the boss, but you can actually get there rather quickly, because you can actually avoid most enemies in any given room. Unless you feel like murdering everything. Why? Chances of dropping hearts is really good. Also, the bow is a one-hit kill. I forget if I mentioned that or not on the Pulse Voices. Oh, that poor bat never saw it coming. Also, I should mention that enemy spawns, when it comes to where they spawn in a room, is actually kind of random. Because I actually did a test playthrough of this dungeon just because Blue Dark Nuts. And all 5 of these Gibdos actually spawned on the outer rim. It's a weird little algorithm there. And we're actually right next to the boss. You're gonna want your flute out for it. Or is it a whistle? I forget. But meet Digdogger! He's invincible unless you use the flute. However, once you use the flute with the tune from Mario 3, he turns into a small little eyeball and he only takes 2 shots to kill. Digdogger just got dug. That was terrible and I feel terrible. And with that we get the Triforce Piece number 5. And I'm actually going to cut to the starting screen right now, because it actually allows me to show you how to get to the next place much easier. Much more easily, actually. And why? Well, for one thing, there's a warp point right next to the starting screen. You might remember the Tektite screen right here. That's a warp point right in those 4 rocks. It's actually the most easily accessible one in the game. And let's see, the next one is... I've actually shown you where Dungeon 6 is. It's that staircase by the graveyard, but entering the middle one takes us right here. Also, I love how the floor is just a gray solid block. Great graphics, Nintendo. And welcome to Dungeon 6, I forget which one this one is. Oh, but first up, we got easily the most annoying enemy type in the game, aside from Dark Nuts, Wizzrobes. Orange ones aren't that annoying because they have set teleport positions, but the blue ones we'll meet later on are much more annoying. Oh, this is level 6, the Dragon. Really weird names for these dungeons. This is before they actually had nice little catchy names like Turtle Rock. Also, if you have the magical shield, you can actually completely block those Wizzrobe attacks. And ooh, double fairy. And there's the compass. Let's see how far away we are from the boss fight. Oh, we are rather far. And that is a lot of bats and random fish that are shooting fire at us. Ooh, double kill. I actually think the keys are actually rather tame in this game. The bats in later games, though, particularly Zelda 2, are annoying as hell. Then again, I'm just gonna be abusing certain things in Zelda 2, like save states, to make sure I don't lose too much progress or get a game over. Then again, Zelda 2 is not coming for a while. So who knows what I'm going to do. Nosferatu. That was random. SpongeBob reference number 73. I really hate how you can't kill the bubbles in this game, because you can in essentially every subsequent game. Through varying means. Oh, great, blue Wizzrobes. These guys teleport around, but you can actually see them doing so. You can hit them when they're moving. And by moving, I mean teleporting. But the fact is, they're much more random than the orange ones, and thus they are a lot more painful. Anyway, we got a mini-boss right here. Gleeok again. Except this time he has 3 heads. And I'll admit, I almost died to him here, because I get stuck in his body. And I have a heart and a half. Time to use the first use of that potion I got back in part, like, what, 2? And each potion used does fully restore your health, so they are extremely useful, I will say that much. So now it somehow turns blue, and that means I'm probably going to use the second use during the final 2 level 7 and 8, so I can be prepped for the final trek. Likes are so annoying, by the way, later in this dungeon, because there's gonna be certain rooms where you're fighting, I think it's Keese, Wizzrobes, and likes at the same time. And I think there's even a bubble or 2 in there, so yeah, that's annoying. Yeah, this is... I swear I've seen this map before. But yeah, this is the dragon. Also, is it me, or does it look like Dungeon 3 can fit in this dungeon? Holy, I never noticed that. It looks like Dungeon 3 can fit right beneath on the bottom right. That's actually kind of cool. Sweet. And then we got a secret passage right here that will actually lead you to the dungeon item. Which is honestly one of the more useful items in the game. This is the magical rod. It's essentially... it has the exact same power as the bow. I can say that much to you. And what it does is that it just shoots a Wizzrobe attack in any direction. So it's pretty much the sword beam at all times. In fact, I think it's stronger than the sword beam. Think is the keyword there. And it's honestly very useful. And ow, ow. Cheap shot, gosh. However, Wizzrobes are immune to it. Just going to ignore them. And by the way, the virus that could split into bats earlier, because we have the magical sword now, they don't split at all. Because we're just killing them all at once, essentially, because there's too many too many damage counters on the enemy, I suppose. Oh, thank God, that is extremely useful. This is honestly, whenever you have Wizzrobes and likes in the same room, you're in for trouble. So I'm very thankful I got a clock there. I wonder what the chances of a clock spawning when you kill an enemy are, because these all probably have like a percentage drop rate or something along those lines. Unless it's like certain games and it is completely random. Like the game just says, go, dice roll! And that is one of the very few Yu-Gi-Oh! References you'll ever hear from me. Anyway, we are essentially right next to the boss fight. Thankfully. Also, I just realized I have 6 keys. And the boss... Oh my... I have 5 keys, wow, huh. I can abuse that in later dungeons. But the boss of this one is Goma. You might recognize her from later Zelda games. In this game, she's the easiest because once her eyes open, just shoot her once in the eye with an arrow, and she goes down. Much more complicated in an Oracle of Ages, I think it was, and Ocarina of Time, obviously. But with that, and us clearing Dungeons 5 and 6, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And next time on Let's Play The Legend of Zelda, we'll be back at the starting screen so we can head to Dungeon 7. And 8, probably. See you guys then.